Hello and welcome to the English Like a Native podcast. My name is Anna and you're listening to week 55, day 5 of your English 5 a day. This is the series that gives you a healthy daily dose of English vocabulary so that you can start to feel more confident and expressive when using English. So today's episode starts with the adjective stay at home. Stay at home. 3 words linked together with hyphens. We start with stay, S-T-A-Y, hyphen, at, A-T, hyphen, home, H-O-M-E. Stay at home. If something is described as stay at home, it's probably going to be a parent. So we normally couple this with the word mum or dad. A stay-at-home mum, a stay-at-home dad. So a stay-at-home parent is a parent who stays at home to take care of the children rather than going out to work. Now, if you have children, which one of you or your partner, is a stay-at-home parent? Maybe neither of you are. Maybe you have help from other family members. Maybe there are grandparents who are able to lend a hand. Or perhaps you have access to childcare facilities. Here's an example sentence using stay at home. My sister just had her second child and is a stay-at-home mum. Next on the list is the noun domesticity. Domesticity. We spell this D-O-M-E-S-T-I-C-I-T-Y. Domesticity. Domesticity. Domesticity is the life at home with your family, or taking care of the house. Everything that is involved in domestic life, that's domesticity. Here's an example sentence. After years of travel, she found comfort in the simple pleasures of domesticity, like cooking and gardening. How do you feel about domesticity? For a number of years, I lived and worked aboard a cruise ship. And it was a very different way of living. It's certainly not the same as living on land in a home and doing all of your own chores and being in control of your environment. So when I was at sea, although I had incredible adventures, I longed for domesticity. Next on the list is the verb commute. Commute. To commute. We spell this C-O-M-M-U-T-E. Commute. To commute is to make the same journey regularly between work and home. So I've talked about commuting many times on this podcast because it's something that many of us do, and I hope that I keep you company while you commute. So how do you commute? Do you commute on the train? Do you commute via a bus? Do you commute on foot? Do you walk to work? Tell me about your commute. Here's an example sentence. She commutes to work by train every weekday morning. One thing that would stop me from looking for a job in the big city, I'm talking about London here. One thing that would put me off applying for a job in the city is the idea of having to commute into London every day. As many of you know, I struggle with claustrophobia and I get very anxious at the thought of having to squeeze onto a packed commuter train or onto the tube during rush hour. I cannot cope. It makes me very anxious. It causes me all sorts of distress. So for me, it wouldn't be worth it. I'd rather find a job that is in a quieter area, perhaps somewhere that I can walk to, or perhaps the kind of role that would allow me to work from home. Next on the list, we have the adjective blissful. Blissful. We spell this B-L-I-S-S-F-U-L. Blissful. If something is described as blissful, then it's extremely or completely happy. Here's an example sentence. We spent a blissful afternoon by the lake, enjoying the warm sun and gentle breeze. What would you describe as being blissful? Last on today's list is the idiom to be torn between something and something. So torn between something and something. Torn, we spell T-O-R-N. Between, B-E-T-W-E-E-N. Torn between something and something. This means that you're finding it difficult to choose between two possibilities. For example, you go to the restaurant and you have a favorite meal, which is lasagna, but you know that this restaurant is famous for its risotto. So you're torn because you like to try new things and you certainly want to try something that is excellent or of excellent quality. But then you also really like lasagna. So which one do you go for? Do you go for their world famous risotto or do you go for your favorite lasagna? Oh, you don't know which one to choose. It's so difficult. You are torn between this and that. Here's another example. I'm torn between taking the job offer abroad and staying close to my family. Have you ever felt torn between two possibilities, between two options? Okay, so that's our 5 for today. Let's do a quick recap. We started with the adjective stay at home, talking about a stay-at-home mum or a stay-at-home dad. Someone who stays at home to look after the children instead of going to work. Then we had the noun domesticity, which is life at home with your family, taking care of the house. We had the verb commute, which is that regular journey that you take every day to work and back. We had the adjective blissful, which means extremely or completely happy. And we had the idiom torn between this and that, torn between something and something, meaning you find it difficult to make a choice between two possibilities. Let's now do this for pronunciation purposes. Please repeat after me. Stay at home. Stay at home. Domesticity. Domesticity. Commute. Commute. Blissful. Blissful. Torn between something and something. Torn between something and something. Very good. If I am describing something that's just completely happy, like a holiday or an experience, what adjective could I use? Blissful. Oh, it was blissful. That's not the adjective I would use for my journey that I have to make every day from home to work and back. What verb would I use to describe this action of travelling to work? Commute. Exactly. I wouldn't describe my commute as blissful. And that might be why I decide to become the parent who takes care of the children in the house rather than going out to work. What adjective would you give to me if I make that choice? Stay at home. Yes, I'd be a stay at home mum. And I would enjoy life at home with my family taking care of the house. What noun can we use to replace life at home with your family taking care of the house? Domesticity. Absolutely. I will enjoy domesticity as a stay at home mum, and I won't have to deal with the not so blissful commute. But as a stay at home mum, I would miss making money and having financial independence. So I might find it difficult to choose whether to be a stay at home mum or whether to go to work. If I'm finding this choice difficult, what idiom could I use? I'm torn. I'm torn between being a stay at home mum and working and being financially independent. Very good. All right, listen out for these items once again in today's story time. Martin Wilson sat at his desk, staring at the ultrasound photo of his unborn daughter. In 3 months, his life would change forever. As he watched his colleagues commute home at the end of another busy day, he felt torn between his successful career as a software engineer and his desire to be there for every moment of his child's life. His partner, Eva, was a brilliant lawyer who loved her work. Last night, they had talked about what would happen after the baby arrived. "I want to make a suggestion," Martin said, surprising her. "What if I stayed home with the baby instead of you?" Eva looked surprised. "But you've worked so hard for your position. Are you sure?" The truth was, Martin had never felt more sure about anything. The thought of quiet moments of domesticity with their baby seemed more appealing than any promotion. His own father had always regretted missing his children's early years, and Martin didn't want the same regret. His decision to become a stay-at-home dad made Eva emotional. "You'd really do that?" she asked, touching her growing bump. "Of course," Martin smiled. "You love being a lawyer. You shouldn't have to choose between your career and being a mum." 3 months later, as Martin held his newborn daughter Sophie for the first time, he knew he'd made the right decision. The next year brought many changes. Instead of writing code, he learned to change nappies and make bottles. Rather than attending business meetings, he attended parent and baby groups. The most blissful moments were the quiet morning cuddles when the rest of the world was rushing to work. Watching Sophie discover the world was better than any project he'd ever worked on. And that brings us to the end of today's episode and to the end of week 55. Remember to access all the vocabulary from the 5-a-day series by clicking on the link in the show notes. Until next week, take very good care and goodbye.